Oh yeah, it's muted. Okay, hello.
Hello, Jian. Yeah, make sure you guys are muted as well, so we don't have the echo. Okay, cool. So welcome
To another live stream.
to another Two Idiots live streaming. So you know the drills. I'm FP,
Soju.
no beers this time. I have 100 plus. Here's Coca-Cola.
Full sugar coat, if
Cheers.
you're wondering.
Happy birthday.
Fuck you. It's FP's birthday.
No, okay.
It's Santa's birthday.
Okay.
It's not Santa's birthday.
So I thought we would
Share our screen, yeah.
Yeah, let's share. Let's get right into it. How do I? Which one are we sharing? Sanctum picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're here to talk about 3 simple things today, which is over here. You want to resize this?
Resize what?
Like,
Make this bigger.
yeah.
Wait. Fuck. sorry. One sec. Like that.
I understand it not be blocked, but sure. You can block it.
You don't. sorry. Wait. Then. Okay, just move the camera. Move the camera.
Okay. Sorry. We're just
Okay. There we go.
good.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Let us here talk about some simple things for the LFG launch. So as most of you guys know, Centum is going to launch on LFG in a few, I don't know, some time. Date to be confirmed and to be announced. And the most important thing for a lot of newcomers is how LFG works. And LFG consists of DRMM, Alpha Vault, and the airdrop. But today we're going to focus a lot more on the DRMM Vault, the DRMM and the Alpha Vault. The Alpha Vault is a new feature that we have released over at Jupiter and Meteora, and it was first used for Uprock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just show you guys the diagrams that we have prepared. Yes. So let's start off with the Alpha Vault. So, actually, no, let's start off with the DRMM curve. Yeah. Let's start with the DRMM curve. So LFG relies on a single-sided DRMM pool, which allows the Centum team to deploy Centum tokens from initial price to an ending price, and with a curve. And what happens is that when trading begins, trading will be on the curve, and other people will provide liquidity either on the curve or off the curve. The curve has a fee of 2.5%, which ensures that retail liquidity providers can provide at tighter spreads and earn more volume and earn more fees. And this is a way of like bootstrapping retail liquidity on Jupiter, on Meteora, on all over Solana ecosystem. And it's also like it has proven to be quite effective in bootstrapping retail liquidity during the Jupe launch, RAN launch, and all of that. So the key thing about the DRMM pool is that because it starts at a price and ends at a price, the lower prices are usually purchased by botters who have a speed advantage. And to solve this problem, we built the Alpha Vault. So the key idea behind the Alpha Vault is that those who buy first, those who have the privilege or the luck to buy at the lower prices, should not immediately be able to sell it, immediately sell it 1 or 2 minutes later, which is what we saw in some of the LFG launches. So how the Alpha Vault works is over here. So people just deposit USDC into the vault, and then the USDC in the vault.
So to be clear, the vault opens before trading begins, right? That's important to say.
So the vault opens when Centum's LFG site goes live, usually 2 or 3 days before Centum's launch. And anyone can deposit USDC in the vault, unless FP makes another decision. But people can deposit USDC in the vault, and the vault has the ability to buy first. So that's what the vault doesn't guarantee anything other than you are buying first, and it will buy out with the USDC that it has accumulated. The vault either has like a minimum deposit cap or the vault either has a maximum deposit cap or a maximum buy cap. So if there's a maximum deposit cap, means you will use up all of the deposits. If a maximum buy cap, means it will be pro rata. Let's say there's 10 million USDC in the vault, there's 5 million maximum buy. Everyone will get half USDC and half vault vest. The key thing about the vault is that it also has a vesting period. So whoever who buys at the first initial trading prices has a vesting period, which is up to the Centum team and community. Should we explain this?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is, go on.
Yeah, so we will explain more in detail after this, but the idea with the vault, with the Centum LFG curve, is to set a curve of 1, which ensures that the vault will always have a cost basis of half of the initial launch. So if the initial launch price is, let's say, 30 cents, the vault will have 15 cents. Will have a cost basis of 15 cents, as shown on this diagram here.
Yeah. So okay. So we've kind of explained sort of how these work, right? But underlying all of this stuff, there were actually a lot of difficult decisions. For example, where should the vault start? Where should the vault end? Where should the curve start? Where should the curve end? What the vesting period should be? And so, there were a lot of difficult decisions that we have to make. We don't have all the answers, and we're still thinking about some of them. And hopefully, you guys will be able to ask, and then we'll try and answer these questions. But let me just give you guys a kind of understanding of what we're trying to achieve here, and then we'll take your feedback. Yeah. So I think. So here are my priorities for a great launch. So for a great launch, we want it to be liquid, fair, and aligned. And so liquid I think this one is sort of like the baseline. It doesn't matter how fair your launch is, if you don't have sort of deep and thick liquidity on chain for people to buy and sell, so that the token gets sort of gets traded to the right price eventually. So helpful. So Meteora is supposed to help with that, obviously, with deep liquidity. I think what's more interesting and a lot harder to do actually is being fair and being aligned. And so what do I mean by a fair launch? Well, to me, a fair launch is a launch where everybody has the same opportunity to get in, and get the token at the price. At the same price, regardless of who they are or how they, how big is the how to to be able to build like a bot or something, right? So that's why like being fair is super important to us. And this third thing is like even harder to do, which is that there should be, I think you touched it.
Oh, sorry.
All good?
Yeah, I touched it just now.
You touched it just now.
Okay.
Okay, don't yeah. So sorry, I'll repeat that. So like fair, the idea of fair is no matter who you are, how much money you have, how famous you are, how pretty you are, like you should be able to get the token regardless, right? And align is making sure that because the vault sells at like a initial sort of like a triangle curve, the first tokens are going to be sold at a very low price, and like normally it's bots that get them, right? Because they're the fastest, right? And we want to really make sure that it's not the bots that get them, but then if it's not the bots who get them, who should get them, right? And I think the sort of like the intuitive or like the answer that makes the most sense to us is that it should be people who are long-term aligned with the protocol. They should get more of the tokens, or they should get sort of like more of this advantage. And so this is what we mean by prioritizing long-term aligned holders.
Which is actually very similar to how we designed the idea of the vault. Like when we designed the anti-bot solution with the Meteora team and Jupiter team, we wanted to build something that was like, we wanted to ensure that the most loyal people who was willing to hold for the longest period has the lowest cost basis, or has the able to buy like the privilege of like being there early. And it's sort of what we observe as a way of like building a community where people are like involved with the project and they get to enjoy some of like the fruits of their labor.
Yeah, so with this in mind, let's think about sort of like here are some of the difficult decisions we had to make when designing, because there are like a fuck ton of parameters you can choose, and there's a lot of sort of like possibility space. So how do you narrow this down, right? And so like thinking about sort of like overarching considerations, there were a couple, right? One is how do we make it sort of fair and aligned, right? And that's what I mentioned before. And something that is, I think, non-obvious to most is that we actually wanted to optimize not just for like what's like the best mechanism, but what's the easiest to explain. And so a lot of people don't get it, right? I mean, as in, a lot of people are saying like, well, oh, why don't you allow people to choose, for example, a continuous option, or like, why don't you have 2 vaults or 3 vaults, or why don't you have this and that? And it's like those are all like good suggestions, like good ideas, right? And they make sense. I'm not saying they don't. It's just that everything that we add, like every mechanism or every clever thing that we try to add, is just going to add more complexity to the person who eventually needs to buy. And remember that not everybody is following this, AMA or following all of this Twitter with all of the time. Like we are, Soju and I are full time this, right? And maybe a lot of you guys crypto degens are as well. But not everybody is like that. And we want to make it basically sort of like fair, not just in terms of like the price and stuff, but also in terms of the knowledge you have to have in order to get a good launch, in order to get in. And so, right, we are not just optimizing for like maximum sort of like cleverness or goodness, but also just in general, like sometimes you need to do like the 80-20 rule, right? Like 20% of the complexity, hopefully 80% of the results. So those are like the overarching considerations. So one of the big questions is like where to start and end the curve. So originally I said I was going to start the curve at
VC
like,
price.
VC price with 5 cents, and then but eventually we decided to move it all the way down to 0.001, which is like a lot lower than VC price or any other price. Now, The reason I did that was like there was partly technical reason and so and partly sort of like more moral reasons. So like the technical reason is that when you start at a number that's above zero, you get kind of like a reflexive property with how the sort of the discount works and the vault works. And so starting it as close to zero as possible, make sure that you get a consistent 50% discount, right? And that like and so yeah, so what happens when you start with a price above zero is that as more people go into the vault, the discount gets bigger and bigger, and it's reflexive, which means if fewer people go into the vault, the discount gets smaller and smaller, and so you can have like spirals both ways, which is not what we want, right? We want a good balance where 50% of roughly 50% of people go into the vault and 50% of people don't, right? And so having these reflexive sort of like cycles just sort of works against that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and of course, having anchored at having anchoring at zero means a constant 50% discount, which again is kind of easier to explain.
Yeah. So let's go with curve next.
Oh yeah, curve. So curve one again. What does curve in LFG means, right? This is the
Curve determines how.
please.
Sorry, no problem.
Yeah.
Curve determines how tokens are distributed from the starting price and the ending price. And a curve of one means that there's an equal number of tokens at every point on of the price between 0 to the max price. And what this actually does in practice is that with a curve of 1, the vault will actually have a 50% discount of the final ending price. So if the ending price after the vault has bought is 30 cents, everybody in the vault enjoys a cost basis of 15 cents. If it's like 25 cents, the vault will have 12.5 cents.
We have here like this is the the tool that we have been using a lot, right? And this is a curvature of 2, and I just want sort of like people to look at how this curve looks. Like forget the the numbers, but like this is a curvature of more than 1, so as you can see, it's sort of like scrolling up, and this is a curve of 1, which is
a straight line.
A straight line, which is like kind of the easiest, and this is a curve of less than 1, which is the opposite, right? It goes like this, right? And so that's basically it, right? And this is like this basically means a more sort of like aggressive. This is about selling sort of like less liquidity, at the lower prices, right?
Yeah. So this curve, this graph here shows how tokens are distributed at every price. So you can see how at the lower prices there's almost no tokens, while all the tokens are at the higher prices. Let's show it again with 1.
Yeah, with 1, sure. I mean this is the thing, right? The flat curve.
Yeah, flat curve. So the same number of tokens distributed in every bin.
And
mass price.
Sorry?
Nothing, sorry.
No.
Go on.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the reason why is we chose curve 1. Oh fuck, they may not even be able to.
Oh yeah, seeing the one.
Oh no!
Let's show this again.
Okay, we're gonna do it like very quickly. Sorry. Okay, look. So curvature here, straight line, right? This is curvature of 1. Curvature of more than 1, it sort of the curve looks like this, and the curvature of less than 1, the curve looks like this. I mean, this is a bit too extreme.
Yeah.
So something like that. So it's just a different shape of the curve. We chose 1 because it's a straight line. It's easy to explain, and importantly, right, like when you have a curve like a non-zero, like a non-1 curvature, right, then it's difficult to think about like what the discount is, because it really depends on how where it ends, right? Like if you end here, the discount is maybe more or less than 50%. If you land here, it's more or less, right? But the nice thing about a nice triangle, a curvature of 1, is that it's always 50% of the initial print, right? And so like again, we're optimizing for like simplicity of explanation. Is this the optimal? Probably, almost certainly not, but like it's easy, it's good enough, right? So
vault depositors will all have the same cost basis of whatever the starting price is divided by 2.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't matter how how much is filled and whatever. Okay, cool. Man, we are so bad. Okay, good. Okay, make sure to. Okay, so
what's the max price FP?
So the max price, we also thought about this for a long time, and so max price we put it at 0.5, and again, like everything's kind of like trade-offs, and like the I think where we decided was like we didn't want to put it like way too high, and we didn't want to put it too low, because we want also room for it to price discovery. So we want it like to have room to potentially go up, and I think here it's important to stress that like we are not looking. Well, I am personally not looking like for the vault to fail. Like that is not like the outcome that like necessarily is good. Like I'm happy, if like it feels halfway or whatever. Like this is like totally fine. I think. In fact, if it completely fills up, it probably means we could have priced a little bit more aggressively, personally. So that's kind of how we're thinking about it. So again, it's the trade-off between like price discovery, allowing it room to go up, but at the same time, not letting not basically taking up too much of the air, and making sure that making sure that everybody who enters in the LFG curve gets what we consider as like a reasonable entry. So basically preserving upside while allowing for price discovery. Yeah. So that's how I thought about max price. Cool.
So what's the number?
0.5. And then what's the next one? So cap the vault. How do we think about cap?
Yeah.
So okay, what does capping the vault mean first of all?
Okay, so let me briefly explain one more time. So, assuming in a world where like the demand for the Centum token is so high, which I think is quite high. So, how do we distribute the tokens that the vault buys in the event where there's too much demand? So there's two ways of looking at it. But there's two ways that we look at it. One way is that you cap how much the vault can buy. You let deposits grow as much as they want, and you cap how much the vault can buy. If only half of the USDC is managed to be deployed, everyone gets half USDC and half Centum tokens. Another way is to cap deposits, which means whoever deposits to the vault first before it fills up gets to buy Centum tokens completely.
So first come first serve.
First come first serve. Yeah.
So in the first example, for example, if the vault is currently capped at 10 million, right? And we should explain this. And let's say there's like 100 million in deposits, right? I mean, let's say, in that case, right, it's not like the 100 million will not be used. It's only 10 million of the 100 million be used. So and everybody assume you put like 100 USDC in, right? So 10 USDC of yours will be used to buy cloud at 18 cents, and then the $90 will be sort of refunded to you.
Yeah.
And have we made sure with Meteora you will be able to refund it before the start of
the goal is for you to be able to claim it back before trading begins, but the latest you can get it back is when trading begins. Okay, yeah. So but we want to help users avoid the congestion at launch.
Hopefully they get it.
That's
and
our
then
goal.
They can buy on the market. I think let's think about why we are capping the vault in the first place. We kind of skipped that.
Yeah.
So like we could have not capped the vault. So like the vault sort of like enter, go all the way up, right, to 50 cents. We considered that, and we decided like not to, because so the vault is kind of like a long-term commitment, right? So we are like, someone who enters the vault should be prepared for the tokens to be locked for months, and in so doing, we want to make sure that people who enter a vault have some security as to like the maximum price that they will pay for the token. So if you don't cap the vault, what will happen is that it can go all the way up, and then they could pay sort of like the max price, which is 25 cents. Which is not that high, right? But for me, I'm thinking like, let's try and bring it down, right? And so to give people like a good sort of like a good sense of security. So that was the idea.
Yeah.
And then now let's talk about, okay, given that we've kept the vault, right? Why should we choose first come first serve, or should we choose pro rata? What are the pros and cons? Yeah.
As FP mentioned, we're gonna cap the vault at 50% or whatever the curve total USDC is. Then it's about whether we should pro rata or first come first serve. So what is your common thinking between the two?
I don't know. Like I spoke with Meow, and he's more into first come first serve, and I am a little bit undecided. There are again, right? Let's think about the overarching consideration, right? It's just to make sure that like it's fair, right, and it's aligned. And like there are some like sort of unfair, like there could be potentially some unfairness on both. So first of all, let's just say like if the vault doesn't fail, which is very possible, right? Like we are here talking about oversubscription. Maybe it doesn't fail, right? And if it doesn't fail, then it doesn't matter, right? Like okay, like let's say the vault fails 3 million or 4 million, 5 million, totally fine, no issue. So this is like in the edge case where it does fail, it does get oversubscribed, and so one of the bad, like when you first come first serve, right? The worry is that some guy might swoop in, with like $10 million and take the whole thing, and or a couple of whales might come in and take the whole thing, and then someone who was not fast enough or maybe sleeping at the time of the launch of the vault doesn't get to, right? And so the advantage of a pro rata is that you can take your time. Like maybe we open the vault for 24 hours. If you don't see it immediately, this is fine. You will go take a nap, come back, maybe sell some of your whatever to buy USDC. I mean, whatever, right? Whatever you want to do, you can deploy it slowly and then you will get sort of allocated. But there are also sort of disadvantages to this approach. One of which that it also kind of advantages whales just in a different way. So for example, whales can deploy like tons of capital and they know they will not get filled, right? But they can basically deploy like tons of capital in the vault, and like for two ways they can do it. Either they just try and like just get like a large pro rata portion, and so you get sort of diluted out in some sense. Or they play these games, which maybe you can talk about, right, where they deposit a lot, right, to try and scare everybody off, right, and then at the last moment, they pull out and try to basically corner the whole supply at a low price. And so can you tell us about like did you say this happened in the past? Or?
So we have not seen that happen in the Meteor Alpha vaults, but we've observed similar things happening like 2-3 years ago in the last Solana DeFi cycle when unlimited, like no cap ideas were attained by like Solan, Mango, and Parrot, especially Solan, where a whale actually withdrew 10 million right before the IDO began, leading to his other addresses getting a much lower cost basis than people expected, and people not depositing during the launch.
So people were scared off because the price looked high. And then he pulled it out to get a low price.
So I think what we should optimize here is at the end of the day, we want the vault to be consisting of like the community members that sent them like once to nurture, and whatever decision we make here is to optimize for that.
At the same time, it's a complicated decision because in some sense, like some people have, for example, suggested that we, for example, gate the vault to Wonderland participants or things like that. And like I'm not totally against it, but I'm a little bit wary of that because I think like there's going to be two components, right? There's going to be the airdrop component, and then there's going to be the LFG component. And I think the airdrop component is to reward our Wonderland users. Like that's the whole point, right? Right, and rewarding everything that we want to see, all the good behaviors, earnestness, etc. And then the LFG part, right, is for people to to enter the token. And so I don't want the LFG to be yet another kind of like airdrop in disguise in some sense. And I think being fair is like for people who maybe haven't discovered Sanctum or like their VCs or whatever, and they should be able to like enter as well. So I think of this as two sort of like conceptually separate things. The airdrop purpose is to reward, and then the LFG is it's not meant to reward. It's meant to sort of like sell the token, and raise funds. So that's why I'm sort of leaning slightly against things like gating or whitelisting to Wonderland users, and I'm also a little bit against strict deposit caps. Like so, another way was like okay, like only Wonderland users can come in, and everybody can only put that X amount. I don't think I think this fits more for like an airdrop capacity rather than an LFG capacity. So those are my 2 cents. But again, things may change.
So I think this is the one decision that we have not like very solidified in like the other decisions. And we will see how, and we will update again closer to the launch. On what we decide.
Allow withdrawals or no? Let's talk about this.
So as part of the previous discussions about pro rata FCS, there's also the question of whether users should be able to put money into the vault and then pull it out. And it's also something that we're considering as well. I personally think that it matters more in the it matters more in a pro rata environment where you can scare people off. But I think ultimately it's the decision that has to be made together.
I mean, the pros and cons is that like you can see sort of like poor UX on both sides. So on the one hand, right, if you don't allow withdrawal, what's someone maybe someone fat fingers and it's like, oh shit, I didn't mean to put all my life savings into the vault, and now what can I do, right? So maybe that's like a bad experience. But again, like capping the vault kind of helps with that, right? So if we say, look, the highest price you're ever gonna pay is 18 cents, right? Maybe like this is like the buyer's remorse is not so high, but it's still a concern. Maybe there's gonna be like 100,000 people entering. Like there's gonna be one guy who's gonna make a mistake, and like that's poor UX. But on the other hand, again, like allowing whales to play these games, withdrawing at any time, I don't feel so good about that either. So I think there's no great answer. We're thinking about it, and then hopefully
Yeah.
we'll take their questions and we'll see how people think. But this is just a good sort of like letting them know what we think. The last thing to talk about is the vesting for vault tokens. So again, like the vault traditionally has been like on the order of days, right?
Yeah, so the vault has a cliff and vesting system. So when we build it, we will allow the LFG project to decide for how long does it take for vesting to begin, and then how long does it take for vesting to be complete. For example, upward date 1 day cliff and then 6 day vesting for a total of 7 days. And yeah, so what's FP? What are you thinking for Centum?
Yeah, so I think like the order of days is like sufficient in order to prevent bots.
Yeah.
But like I want to kind of overload the purpose of the alpha vault, and this is something that bench I'll push back against, I know. But like it's just I mean it comes down to the sort of like the alignment thing, right?
Yeah.
So we want the people who are long-term aligned to be able to get like the first few bins, which are going to be sold very cheaply, right? So that means sort of like aggressively increasing the lockup period. It's like because 1 day or 7 days is not, I think like it's not it doesn't no, like almost everybody is going to be able to wait like 1 or 7 days. So we're bringing it up to months, and again the number we've sort of floated is 2 months, 2 months cliff, and then like a 6 month vest, or maybe it starts unlocking at 2 months and then it linear vest until 6 months or something. Again, right, this isn't a number I'm firm on, right? But again, like the consideration here is that it shouldn't be a no-brainer, right? Like it should not be like, it really should be a difficult decision, and like it should not be like, oh, I really want to get in the vault, and if everybody wants to just get into the vault, and if they don't get in the vault, they're like, fuck, like this sucks, right? It really should be a difficult choice for at least some people. And I think it's not a bad choice if you choose like, okay, I don't want to go into the vault, because like let's think of like the vault is not free money, and I want to make this like absolutely clear, right? Like for example, like even if you're getting a 50% discount, let's say the vault fails, right? It starts at 36 cents, and you are running, you are sort of like you have an 18 cents sort of like entry, right? And then like everybody dumps their airdrop, and then it goes all the way down to like 15 cents, and like you thought you were getting a discount, but actually you're paying more, and in fact if you had gone into the sort of the regular spot, you could scoop this up for 15 cents, right? And you wouldn't be locked up for months, right? So I just want to stress, right, like this is like that is like the big sort of trade-off that you have to make, and this is how we're thinking about vest tokens. But at the same time, of course, if you have a vesting period of like 10 years, right? Like nobody, even the long-term folks will be like, okay, like this, I can't justify locking up my capital for such a long time. The last thing I wanted to say here is that the team and VCs unlock first tranche at 1 year. So like whatever period we decide, right, like I want it to be less than a year, because I want retail, like whoever enters in LFG, to be able to dump on the team and VCs and not the other way around. So that's very, very important to me. So feel free to dump on us. And like that's important. Like at least like symbolically, this is like super, super important to me. Any thoughts on that?
So I think like one thing I wanted to reiterate is that it shouldn't be immediately obvious, or shouldn't be immediately obvious like out of the two options, like the vault and market buying, the one is significantly superior to another, and everyone's fighting over one option. I think one thing that we really want to do here is trying to like balance both sides. And then sort of like, I mean, FP loves this separating equilibrium thing, and but for me, the lower IQ in the room is just here's what if you fulfill this thing where you are like, you want to hold the long term, you want to be part of everything, then use the vault. If you want to trade Centum tokens because you think it's an amazing token in the next 3 months, then by all means market buy, and then you should not feel disadvantaged in either way. You shouldn't be feeling very super disadvantaged if you were forced to market buy on the market. Or if you had missed the chance to deposit, you shouldn't feel like shit, like this is over, I cannot be part of Centum anymore. It's sort of like balancing.
I mean, both are good. It just depends on your personal circumstances, like the trade-offs, how you are personally feeling about Sanctum token. Right. So okay, cool. Let's look at. I wanted to load that meme, but it's taking so long. The meme that you did. Soju did a meme. Let me just share.
That's a very internet.
I think it's because of the stream, honestly, right? Like, oh my god, we're gonna sit here and sorry
Dial
guys.
internet.
Let's maybe it's more exciting this way. People have already seen
Watch
that.
slowly.
Yeah. So again, trying to make it as simple as possible, right? And basically like we give you like two decisions. Let me just zoom in onto this, right? Like you have the alpha vault, right? You have there we go. Thank you. Right. Okay, it's loading already.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so like just like you really only have like two decisions to make. One decision to make, right? Like, are you willing to lock up the price and maybe take a drawdown in the next few months, right? Or you want to sort of like buy the market and be flexible and potentially even get a cheaper price than the people coming into the vault. Now, of course, again, like it's possible. I'm not saying that it will happen. Like maybe the vault, right? Like the vault unlocks and then it just shoots up and you never get a price to purchase in. Like it's possible, right? But again, like it may go up, it may go down. I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
So you have to decide. Yeah, but I think there's no right answer.
Yeah, it should always be based on like what you personally think. Yeah.
Okay, cool. What else do we want to talk about?
So what we've all gone through is like more or less like what the actually things are.
Yeah.
So all the individual components.
Mm-hmm.
But then the key question is here is what you should do on launch day. So
Yeah.
so the key question is that the key thing is that there should only be one question that you should ask yourself, like, am I someone who wants to, I don't know, how will you explain it?
are you long term aligned, right? Like again, ask yourself this question. Like you really only have one decision to make, right? Apart from how much you want to buy, but like once you figure that out, you think about like, okay, like am I willing to take like a drawdown in the next few months, if and have no way of getting out, because that's what being locked up means. Crypto moves fast, right? I don't want anybody to feel like feel hurt or feel like trapped or whatever. So like make sure you're ready for that, right? It's not a no-brainer. It comes with it straight off. So like but again, like a simple option. Are you long-term bullish on Sanctum? Do you think like, okay, I'm never gonna sell this token, I'm gonna hold it forever, I'm gonna like sure, then like for you and Vault's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
If you're like let me wait and see, then I think it's better for you to to market to enter into the market. But
Yeah, I think like once we are building everything to be revolving on this one decision.
Yeah.
Similar to I think we mentioned it. I think like we are thinking of similar concepts for the airdrop as well. Whether you should claim now or claim later. So a
Yes.
similar concept will be applied.
Similar concept.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Again,
what you should do on the launch day will all revolve on how you answer this question.
Yeah. Okay.
basically.
Perfect. I think that's more or less everything we wanted to cover. It's a bit more technical, and let's do the AMA.
Yeah.
It's very strange because the chat like it doesn't there is no chat. So.
Oh wow, it's this.
Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, like we do not see the comments on the restream,
Restream,
like we did before.
I've been scrolling through YouTube and Twitter to see.
Should we let's do those ones? Yeah. Maybe you read the questions out and stuff.
Yeah, so one that I asked, instead of returning my extra USDC, how about adding an option to the vault to auto purchase card at launch with extra capital? So we talked about doing this. We talked about letting the vault buy as long as it lowers the cost basis of everyone else in the vault. But I think right now how it actually works is that hopefully you can withdraw your USDC 5 to 10 minutes before launch and then use the USDC in like DCA, EMI orders, market buy, or other bots. But worst case, like if we can't get those improvements in time, you'll be able to withdraw your USDC exactly at launch. So once trading begins, you can take your USDC out and do whatever you want with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get that because then people don't have to rush.
Yeah. So I really want to make it so that people can withdraw the USDC 5 to 10 minutes in advance, because maybe there will be some congestion, maybe the network will spike at launch because of how everyone's doing their
and also
airdrop
just
stuff.
you have time to set your limit orders and so on, right? Yeah. So, but what was the issue? Why can't we let people auto buy? Is that?
It's something that we have considered, but there's like a bit of trade-offs with the vault becoming as liquidity as the price goes down. Like we don't want the vault to be buying against like a falling market, and it's not something that we fully decided right now. So right now the vault only buys like before the pool launch.
Okay, that's a great question. Yeah, thank you.
That's a great question. Yeah.
Yeah.
One guy asks us whether the vesting applies to USDC. No, vesting only applies to the Sanctum tokens. You can get your USDC back. The only period you can't withdraw your USDC is the window where the vault is buying.
Yeah. So to be clear, we were talking about like, can you withdraw or can you not withdraw? Like maybe there's a possibility in which you cannot like, there's a possibility once you deposit you cannot withdraw. But to be clear, right, any unused USDC is just going to give you, and does not vested at all. You can claim it hopefully before the trading starts, but definitely by the time trading starts, you'll be able to pull out everything that has not been used to buy the cloud token. Yeah.
Yeah. And if anyone have any questions, please throw it in Twitter or YouTube or anywhere. Yeah. Trying to read more questions.
I can read also, like where else are the
Twitter maybe?
Twitter? You're on YouTube, is it?
I'm on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, let me check Twitter.
Yeah. Please leave us more questions if you got any. It's my sentiment chat.
Oh shit! It's only. I didn't broadcast it on my channel. But I'll check Sanctum.
What is the actual use of cloud governance on it?
I mean that has been answered in the previous AMA actually. But I mean just briefly. So the question is, what's the actual use of cloud? Is it governance? Is it pegged to the value of INF? No, it's not pegged to INF. It will be governance. It will be used to stake for validators to join future seasons of Wonderland, and people will be able to vote on this as well. Yeah, but all of this is I think better explained in post number 1. Yeah. So I have a question about airdrop. We're not answering any question about airdrop. They have to wait for the next AMA.
There's a question about whether everyone in the vault gets the same cost basis, and the answer is yes.
Yes,
so everyone in the vault will have the same cost basis. It doesn't matter whether you deposit the vault first or you deposit the vault later. You just have to get your USDC in time.
Yeah.
Can you lose tokens in the vault that's vested in the vault for governance during the period? That's quite a technically difficult challenge, so we have to think about that. Yeah.
I mean I really would like to, because I mean I think for me it makes sense, right? These are the people who are like wanting to be like the most likely to be active and participating in governance, right? And so like it would be really nice like if they could participate. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's not up to is it on your
we'll I mean it's something that we both want to do.
Yeah.
And we will figure it out.
Hopefully we'll figure it out. Yeah.
Will the Sanctum team be open to multiplier for Wonderland users?
Multiplier for Wonderland. I mean, what would like So the question is, will Sanctum users be open to some sort of multiplier for Wonderland users? What does a multiplier?
Yeah, I guess the question is like if you are Wonderland user,
maybe you get like more pro rata.
You get a bonus, yeah.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. It's just again like everything has to be weighed against the trade-offs of like I'm not saying no, right? Like everything has to be weighed against the trade-off of like, will this make it more complicated to understand, and like is this like fulfilling the purpose of LFG? And I think like this, I don't quite like this right now. I'll think about it, but I don't quite like this right now again because like the nice thing about first come first serve or pro rata is like it's very straightforward, right? First come first serve, okay, like there's nothing to explain. And then pro rata is also like, okay, if you put in 100 and there's 10 million committed, you know immediately how much are you gonna get. And then with a Wonderland bonus, and it's like okay, like and then once you have a Wonderland bonus, like does someone with more points get more of a multiplier? So it's tricky, yeah. But I'll think about it.
So someone asked when do we know the final settings of the vault? I think what will likely happen is that 3 or 4 days before launch, we will do like another planetary call when the LFG sites are. We'll go through everything again, and whatever you see there will be the final details. This live stream is just for us to like share what we're thinking, where we are, and like hear what the community is in response. Yeah. So
I mean, this is like a scratch. I mean, the purpose with this is to give a little bit more context. I mean, a lot of this is written already in the post. That was the point of the post. But this is giving you guys a little bit more context how we are thinking about this, and yeah.
Yeah. Primary source of revenue.
Yeah. So what will be Sanctum's primary source of revenue? Well, at the current moment, we make swap fees from Infinity, routing fees from Router. instant and stake fees from reserve, deposit fees from LSTs. Yeah, we have a lot of revenue sources. Yeah. So, but yeah. Hopefully, and this will come in a future AMA, right? I will explain kind of like the broader vision of Sanctum going forward, and then like there will be sort of like lots of ways going forward in which Sanctum can monetize. That said, I'm not that interested in sort of like monetization right now. Like my focus is really on growing the pie and bringing the percentage of stake sold from 6% all the way up.
Yep. Any more questions, guys?
Maybe can we check the Discord maybe? Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can check your site as well. You want to show your face, Elkan? Your beautiful face.
If the vault,
I saw a comment.
If the vault is over, so it'll be nice to see the Sanctum Season 1 LSC holders at priority.
Yeah, I mean, we have thought about this, right? It's like, okay, maybe like, so for example, I mean, this is going to be technically very difficult to do, so we're probably not going to do it. But one idea was like, okay, like first come, first serve, but the Wonderland guys come in with like a cap, and then they can come in first, and then, and then everyone else can come in. So like, I think that would be a good idea. I think the thing is that it's just very technically, very difficult to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then again, I think, just to reiterate one more time, if you use Wonderland, you use Sanctum, the air job is to reward you for participating in that. And the vault shouldn't, and our goal is really to like make the vault make like market trading and then vault should be equally good options, and one side isn't villainized, one side isn't like heavily advantaged.
Yes, exactly, right. And so like I think if we make like vault so thing like it becomes almost too good like a deal, and I mean
the goal is like
or like it gives send the message that like the vault is like special access, right? When it's just again both are equally valid.
I think the goal is to like sorry, go on. Sorry, might have missed it, but when will the vault be open for deposits? The vault will be open for deposits when the LFG site goes live tentatively. If the Sanctum community and maybe FP and the team thinks that it's necessary to like have the LFG site be released like here and then the vault open here and then the trading begins, we can also arrange for that. So something to wonder.
Sorry,
we can basically set a specific time when the vault is open for deposits.
I see. Okay, but I mean, like,
but the trade-off is that the vault might be deported. Yeah.
It might be what?
The vault deposits might be deported. Like if you release it in advance and then you say it's going to be it will start in 2 hours or 4 hours or 8 hours.
It might be botted.
People might write bots to deposit into the vault first. If it's first come first.
Well, if it's first come first. Okay, yeah.
So
the vault will probably open like a few days before TGE.
The vault will open 2 to 3 days before TGE.
2 to 3 days before kind of like we actually start trading.
Yeah. And when will liquidity be put from DRMM Launch Pro? It's a good question.
That is a good question. So we haven't decided yet. So we are sort of like candidly we are speaking now to like a lot of market makers. So on-chain and there's 2 kinds of market makers. There's like on-chain market makers, off-chain market makers. On-chains they do on the mainly on the centralized exchanges. Off-chain they do like on the Orca, Meteora, and Camino pools. And so I'm still sort of trying to figure out what on off-chain liquidity will look like. After the launch, like the LFG pool will provide that launch, but eventually the time is the goal is to pull it out, and we want to make sure that when we pull it out, there is sufficient and deep off-chain liquidity, like on already the pools that the non-LFG pools to support the token. So basically like we will make sure that is in place before we pull the funds. But I think like maybe like anywhere from 3 days to a week is what you recommended. But we're sort of like relatively flexible on this.
Most of all the activity happens on the first day. So for Juke, after the first 24 hours, most of the volume was actually happening on everywhere else other than the launch pool. But the team kept the USDC there for a long time, like to signal for the community to feel more comfortable.
How long did you guys take?
We took it out over 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
But just to be clear, like for building up actual liquidity, it takes about a day. The liquidity lot is for 3 days, and after that, it's up to center.
I mean,
and community to
I think
decide.
volatility sort of like probably
Yeah.
peaks on trading and then sort of like dies down, and then probably within a week you already have the like price discovery mostly done.
Yeah. So there was another question on like how is done to prevent the vault from closing at a very high variation. So as we mentioned earlier, you're thinking of capping the vault at 50% of the pool, which means that the max price the vault will buy will be about 50% of the highest price, and then your cost basis will be 50% below that. So
Not 50% of the highest price, right? Because it's
Oh, yeah.
So the current numbers look like this again, tentatively subject to change. But like the max price that the LFG pool will sell the tokens, it's 50 cents. The maximum price that the vault will end up is 36 cents.
36
But the maximum price that anybody in the vault will pay for the tokens is half of 36, which is 18. So 18 cents.
Yeah.
So that will be the cap. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a cap. So 18 cents is the highest you will go.
Yes,
You might go,
exactly.
yeah. And that's if everything sells out.
That is
The
if
vault
the
sells
vault fills up, yes. And
Yeah.
if the vault doesn't fill up, right, then you pay half of whatever. So if it ends up at 10 cents, you're gonna be filled at 5 cents. 12 cents, you get filled at 6 cents, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just keep hitting us with more questions. I think this live stream is very good for us to like just talk about how these decisions are made behind the scenes. Like I think FP had this very cool idea of like behind the scenes of a token launch. And I think no team has been this transparent. Jupe was very transparent, but this is like behind the scenes transparent. Right before the launch, we'll be doing another planetary call where we like dive into all the details in a very like snappy format with Cash and everyone. So don't worry if you miss the details here. Like they'll be reiterated many times before launch. It's just very nice to like talk to the community and like talk about this stuff together.
Yeah, I have a comment here from NY Soul. So it says like 50% going to vault is too high, no? As a fan, I think the free market without selling limits should be a bigger player. It's again, it's all about trade-offs. I'm not saying like 50% is perfect by any means, but it's just like if you. So imagine there was no vault, right? Like 0%, or like the vault is capped at like some tiny amount, like 10% or something. Then, well, the vault's gonna fill up like immediately because like everybody's gonna want to get that really low price. And sort of like the vault basically like does it almost like so if think about the original problem that the vault is trying to solve is bots, right?
Yeah.
And the idea is that look, you have this like curve that starts from from zero, right? And then like you kind of like go up from there, and like the whole idea is that bots can buy at a very low price and then sell it, dump it immediately on retail, right? And so the vault is there to prevent it. And if you have a very small vault, like a 10%, 20, 10%, 20% vault, right? Then it's gonna fill up immediately. It's gonna fill, and then you're gonna have the same problem, right? Just that you've sort of like you've kind of like chopped the bins a little bit.
You go from botting the launch to botting the vault.
I mean, not just that, right? As in, no, it's not that. It's not botting. As in, like, it's botting the vault, and then after that, the thing is that you still have the thing, except like the entire curve is just truncated 10%. So you still have the same problem, right? And the only way in which like you have less of a bots problem is that when if the vault ends and it ends at a high price such that the botters like don't because it could go down from that, right? And so like, but if you start at too low, if you have too low a vault, it's gonna guaranteed to start at a low price, and when it starts at a low price, then the bot again will just come in and scalp you. So yeah, that's the motivation between like why 50%. Yeah. I mean, again, 50% is not like perfect number. I don't know what the perfect number is, but it's like it has to be reasonably high. Again, such that like bots will not find it profitable. To actually solve the problem of bots.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Actually, want to answer this.
How is the term long-term? So the question by Pete. How is the team long-term incentivized if they are not guaranteed to get a significant amount of tokens before token launch? Well, the team actually has a 25% allocation, but these tokens are sort of launched. They only unlock starting 12 months after the launch of the tokens. So something like July 2025 if we launch in July. I mean the idea is that if team had a lot of tokens, on day one, it's possible that the team could sort of sell all the tokens and sort of like basically like dump on retail, and that's why you have a 1 year lockup period to make sure, plus also 2 years after that to make sure that the team is aligned long term. Like basically incentivized to make sure that the project is continues to do well long term. Yeah.
Yep. Just airdrop questions now.
Yeah. I think so. We have like some comment.
Yeah, some people typing on Discord.
On the Discord. Is this YouTube? Do you check
YouTube,
Twitter?
Yeah. Okay.
It's on the Sanctum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. No, very good. Yeah, I think the biggest questions around the vault is like timeline wise, when will deposits be open and stuff. Deposits will be open 2 or 3 days before launch, as we mentioned, and I think we should I think we will definitely communicate more about this like in advance and give people proper heads up.
So just giving you guys a little bit of like rough timelines. Please don't take this as gospel. Please don't hold us to it, because things take long. But sort of like this week we're focusing mostly on the LFG parameters.
Yeah.
Moving forward, we are finalizing sort of like the airdrop parameters. Again, explaining, like, expect another very long Twitter post from me talking about what the airdrop will look like, what we're trying to reward, so on and so forth. There will be a new sort of like profiles feature we'll be launching. And then and then I'll have like a couple, like 1 or 2 more posts about like the vision of Sanctum, and then most importantly, before maybe a week before the launch or like a couple of days before the launch, we're gonna have like a planetary call.
Yeah.
This will wrap up. This will be a long call wrapping up everything, right? And then like all the details will be finalized by then. Like here's how much you're getting for your airdrop. Here's the LFG, right? Here's what you need to do. Click this, and all of it. Vault opens at this time, so all of the details will be communicated like later. I know everybody is looking for like when
launch.
Trust us, we also want to know. But, it's just very difficult for us to commit to anything at this time. But we're obviously working, right? Like every week we're here. So yeah.
Every day.
yeah, every day. Actually.
Yeah. So we'll now it's just behind the scenes stuff. We'll do a planetary call. It'll be fun.
Yep.
End of June probably. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bronco asked, do we know if SCFS or pro rata? No, we don't know.
That's
again,
why I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, look, there are pros and cons, right? With first come first serve, a whale can come in and scoop everything out. With pro rata, whales can play some games and they can, like basically shut everybody out. So then it's not a perfect, it's not a no-brainer either way. Yeah.
Great question for FP. Why did you change your hairstyle?
Oh, I just.
It's a style. It's a style.
I guess I didn't wash my hair.
Need to. Yeah.
have to put it out.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay, cool.
Chat Twitter one more time.
Yeah, let's. If we, I mean, it's midnight here, so if we don't have any more questions, we can probably just think about wrapping it up.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for coming on, everybody, for our second BTS deep dive on how things work. Today is LFG edition.
LFG edition.
Yeah.
So the next one, hopefully, so. Let me tell you guys what is going to happen next. The next one will probably be about airdrop, about the social profile connection thing that we're shipping going forward, and then hopefully we'll have Soju, and then we'll be in KL.
Yeah,
we'll be in KL, and we'll have a proper studio. It will be kind of less janky. Anyway, but thank you guys all for your time. And then see you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.